Anyway,
Hey,
what is this?
I'm gonna need some backup down here.
Man.
As far as Star Wars video games go, we've taken countless turns at twirling lightsabers and unleashing flashing force powers.
This is a good game.
But Star Wars Outlaws swaggers into the cantina, slinks down into a booth with its holster clip unbuttoned, and argues that those are no match for a good blaster at your side. This open world, or rather open worlds action game features a level of gun battles and broken promises befitting the legend that is Chewbacca's best mate. However, Star Wars Outlaws essentially delivers a Han Solo-like experience in both good and bad ways. It has some handsome looks and a strong sense of adventure.
I mean, I would say this environment really doesn't look that great, but it could also just be on a bad graphics card. I remember whenever I looked at the original trailers for this game, the visuals for the game actually looked great. I don't know, this feels like it was recorded on like a 1080 or something like that, you know?
But it's also somewhat scruffy around the edges and is liable to let you down from time
This is
to
really
time.
bad. All right, let's see it.
Of course, given that its propulsive space western story takes place in between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, the actual Han Solo is literally on ice for the duration of Outlaws. Instead, we step into the battered space boots of Kay Vass, a cunning thief raised amidst the hives of scum and villainy in the gambling capital of Canto Bight, and accompanied at all times by her adorable pint-sized partner in crime, Nix. Kay's quickly shown to be handy with a hairpin lockpick and has an insatiable appetite for five-finger discounts.
That looks nice, huh, Nix?
Although like Dash Rendar and pre-Jedi Kyle Katarn before her, she never really steps out of Han's shadow and becomes much more than a stand-in smuggler with a heart of gold.
You want it done right? You do it yourself.
What follows is a 20-hour string of
Wow, I've never heard that before. Oh boy.
reckless rescue missions and shady underworld dealings as Kay and Nix crisscross their way around 4 main planets and the pirate-riddled spaces.
This looks nice. This part looks good.
Between, attempting to unite a squad of like-minded criminals with the aim of pulling off a major heist and erasing the bounty placed on Kay's head by the crime boss, Slero. This casino owner serves as Outlaws' primary antagonist and seems suitably callous enough.
You must be Slero.
Your friends abandoned you.
But is neither as outright evil as Emperor Palpatine, nor as quietly menacing as Grand Admiral Thrawn, and is kept at a distance for the most part and only ever encountered in the occasional cutscene.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do better than that.
Even so, Outlaws' story is a consistently entertaining quest, and one that takes Kay through some recognizable spaces and some entirely new, all while cutting deals with countless colorful criminals, including this surly Sullustan mobster on Akiva, who has the audacity to deal out orders to you while putting his feet up on a desk made out of his own carbonite-encased brother.
He took my eye, but I took everything else.
While her end goal...
I just like... Whenever I see stories like this, it just reminds me of how much better Cyberpunk was. Like, every time I see a futuristic story game, all it is for me is another reminder that I need to play Cyberpunk. That's all it is, because, like, all of this, it's just so, like, vapid and flat and mediocre. It's unbelievable. Like, who writes this and thinks that it's good? It set a new standard. Yeah, it's just like... I can't even compare them. Fat Darth Maul. It's Darth Ball.
While may be considerably smaller in scope than, say, blowing up a Death Star, the environments Kay's entertaining saga unfolds in are surprisingly large. To be clear, this isn't No Man's Skywalker, so you don't have the freedom to circle each planet and land wherever you choose.
Of course not.
However, with the exception of the comparatively more compact city setting of Kijimi, Outlaws' sandboxes stretch out far and wide and contrast with each other nicely.
That's good.
From the iconic arid sands of Tatooine to the lush rainforest of Akiva, whose network of rivers is handily transformed into shortcut-making highways once you unlock the upgrade for your speeder bike that allows it to skim across the water's surface.
That's cool. I like that.
It's a good thing, too, that Kay's speeder can be upgraded, since it's the only vehicle she's able to steer around while navigating each terrain. Despite the fact that in Outlaws' many bustling settlements you can see land speeders whizzing by, saddled dewbacks waddling...
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like another... It's like another one of those elements where it's like, it would be cool to have other vehicles, but I wonder how much do people really care about that? I always think to myself, like, what's really like, why would you? I think with a game, it's like the question is like, why? Like, why do you have? Why is this game? Why is this game, right? And I see something like this, and it's like, is it there for gameplay? Is it there for the story? Because I feel like there's a lot of these games that just have like a 6 or like a 4 in like every category because they're just like, so aggressively mediocre.
Long and towering ATSTs chicken walking past, you can't actually ride or drive any of them.
Of course not.
Compared with a decade-old Grand Theft Auto 5, where if you can see it, you can probably steal it.
Yeah.
Or last year's The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, where if
you
you
can
can
just
think
make it.
you can probably build
Yeah.
it. Outlaws comes up shorter than Luke Skywalker in a Stormtrooper suit in terms of its list of usable transportation types, which is a bit disappointing for a modern open-world adventure.
Imperial's over there.
Outlaws isn't just about getting from A to B, however. It's also about breaking into and out of various Imperial bases and crime syndicates' headquarters at the behest of the various underworld cohorts that Kay conspires with along the way.
Name's Varric, and I've got a real job for you.
Furry
Am I crazy for thinking that the world of Star Wars is incredibly fucking boring outside of the lightsaber stuff? I think I can't think of a single component of Star Wars that's more compelling than Dune outside of lightsabers. It's just boring to me. Andor? Maybe, yeah. Like, I don't know. I didn't watch Andor. But I just don't really find it to be, like, super compelling or interesting. Maybe in, like, some of the shows, they flesh it out better. But with this, I'm really just not seeing it.
friend Nix is vital to these infiltrations, as he's basically a space cat drone who functions like a watchdog's phone. You can point him at switches to activate while you remain in cover,
Nix, the door.
or to briefly divert the attention of security cameras to allow you safe passage,
Nix, put on a show.
among several other useful talents. Kay has her own special set of skills when it comes to sneaking her way into each high security facility, and I never
Wow.
grew tired of the rhythm-based lockpicking, a surprisingly simple yet effective game of Simon Says that has to be one of the snappiest and most satisfying ways to open locked doors and crates that I've enjoyed in a while. Overall,
I always thought Starfield had good lockpicking. I know it's like one of the only good things the game had, but that was one of them.
however, Outlaws' stealth is markedly uneven.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You've alerted the station.
Sometimes it's far too easy, like when I was able to do the tried and tested Assassin's Creed distract and dispatch routine on multiple enemies in the same spot.
All right, distract him, Nix.
I don't think this is a problem, by the way. Like, games like this, like, being able, like, we just watched, like, a video earlier of, like, Wukong, like, being able to one-shot the Tiger Boss in, like, New Game Plus. Like, you're always gonna find ways and, like, easy, like, that's part of the game. Like, you can do this in Sekiro. Like, most bosses, you can execute one of their health bars if you sneak up on them. Yeah, that's the fun part of finding this. Yeah, it's just that, like, sometimes when it's so easy to do, it's like not, it's like you want to feel like you earn something like this, right? Like in Sekiro, being able to sneak up behind the boss and then jump down and execute the boss, it feels like you've earned that. Rather than, like, if you just, like, for example, you open the door and the boss is turned around behind you and you walk up and you just stab him once. It's like, wow, I'm so good at this game. You want to feel smart for finding it? Yeah, exactly.
Yet at other times it was wildly unpredictable, like when I'd somehow trigger an alarm performing a stealth takedown, even though it appeared that no one else was around.
Oh, I'll tell you why it probably happened. It happened because the guy went into a aggro mode And whenever he goes into an aggro mode, it does an AoE aura around him that puts everything else in an aggro mode. That's probably what happens because that's the way a lot of stealth games work. Like that's actually, I think that's that's like the nuts and bolts of like the way the mechanic functions.
Instead, more often than I'd like, my efforts to remain hidden would evaporate, things would get loud, and a number of other problems would present themselves.
Like, I'll try to think of a couple of examples of that. Like in Once Human, if you shoot a guy once and it kills him, even though he's right next to the other guy that you shot, the other guy won't notice it. But if you shoot him and it doesn't kill him, it will aggro all the guys around it immediately because of the fact that they have an AoE aggro system. It's the exact same mechanic. It's so bad. It's bad game
Outlaws'
logic.
combat serves up some solid cover-based shooting with authentic sound effects and punchy smoke and sparks with each blaster bolt impact. But
Really? You think that's punchy? I think this is garbage. Let's watch this again.
Shooting with authentic sound effects and punchy smoke and sparks with each blaster bolt impact, but precious little in the way of new ideas. It's less Bad Batch and more basic bitch. It always seemed to be Red Barrel delivery day in every combat arena that Kay arrived in, and I used these explosive targets in almost every encounter to thin the Stormtrooper and scumbag hordes. There's always the challenge of knowing when to detonate them to take out them.
So, like, it seems so formulaic. Yeah. That's crazy. This looks so mediocre. Yeah, I mean, I really need to play this. Like,
most enemies, but that's the same thing we've been doing for decades. So while it's effective, it doesn't exactly make Outlaws.
I've got to play this.
Out. These simplistic shootouts can also be brought to a faster conclusion via the use of Kay's Adrenaline Rush move, which charges up while she's under attack and allows her to slow time and then mark and execute multiple targets in one rapid hip-firing burst, almost identical to the Deadeye targeting from the Red Dead Redemption series.
let's look at how it does in Red Dead Redemption 2. Never played the game. So what's it called again? Red Dead Redemption, Redemption 2. What's the mechanic? Deadeye mechanic.
Hey everybody, I'm gonna go over how to use Deadeye in Red Dead Redemption 2. First off, look in the bottom left hand corner. The eye icon is your Deadeye meter. So long as that's filled up, you're going to be able to use the Deadeye. What it does is slow down time and allow you to make the shots more precise. To start Deadeye, press in your right thumbstick. Once you do, you'll notice that time slows down and the whole world gets this sepia tone to it. From here, you're able to aim at your enemies and you can press R1 to target them and you're able to actually...
Oh, so it's like Sandevistan in Cyberpunk. Okay. So this is just... And here's why this is so much better, by the way. The Red Dead Redemption version is better. It's because, look at, like, it doesn't even feel like you're shooting all of them. Like, for example, like, with It's High Noon, you know, with, like, McCree or Cassidy or whatever the fuck, he is in Overwatch now. You know, you're firing the shots. Like, it's like, listen to the audio here.
Dead Redemption series.
4, right?
It's useful.
She doesn't even aim. It doesn't even make sense.
It's useful and satisfying for the most part, although I did find Kay would occasionally pump some stylish slow-motion blaster rounds directly into the cover in front of her rather than the target I had selected. It felt a bit limiting that Kay can only permanently carry her blaster and grenades in her inventory. But weapons drop
By the way, you saw how that happened again? About, like, with the stealth mechanic?
Grenades
Watch.
in her inventory.
Immediately. Red. Red. It's an AoE mechanic.
But weapons dropped by enemies can be picked up, used, and discarded once they're out of ammo.
Of course.
However, what really irks me about Outlaws' approach to secondary weapons is how much it goes out of its way to make you drop them. Do a melee attack? Drop your weapon. Crawl into a vent? Drop your weapon. Climb a wall or a ladder? Drop your weapon. Who programmed this? RoboCop?
Drop it!
If I pick up a
It makes sense. It just doesn't feel good.
sniper rifle, it doesn't seem unreasonable to expect that I should be able to carry it with me up to a high enough vantage point to best put it to use.
That case, I think, makes a lot of sense. I think not being able to, climb up a ladder makes sense, but that definitely, yeah.
It's especially annoying given how often I was hit and killed instantly while behind cover by enemy snipers in elevated positions. Simple and reheated as it generally is, I definitely warmed to the combat a bit more as time went on, particularly once I was able to upgrade my blaster with a couple of
I mean, I'm just trying to look for the jackals, right? I feel like this doesn't even look that much better. I can't find their shields. I'm sorry. I know it's at the beginning, first two levels. I probably should have found it. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, I know they're here. Just 20 years. I mean, this game came out in November of 2004. That's crazy. It's a shock. What the hell?
shot modes. That effectively gave me 3 weapons to swap between, even if they were all coming out of the same barrel.
Kind of a nitpick? It's not a nitpick. The game looks cheap. It looks like cheap fucking garbage. Look at the visuals here. These visuals are from 2014. Metal Gear Rising had better visuals than this. It's bad. It looks like trash. I don't know what you want me to say.
Well, at no point did this combat system ever feel as flexible or as fun as the best games in Ubisoft's own Far Cry series, and fights started to feel pretty repetitive outside of the rare encounter with probe droids or the one-off scrap with a Rancor. Having said that, I'll take the basic on-foot combat in Outlaws over its awkward speeder bike fights any day. Since this is Star Wars, Outlaws also features space combat, and rarely could I ever emerge from a lightspeed jump in Kay's Trailblazer ship and not crash headlong into a dogfight that felt authentic to the films.
Okay.
You know, it'd be nice to visit a planet that isn't a war zone once in a while.
Slinking off to bully some TIE fighters did offer a nice way to blow off some steam every once in a while.
Maybe I'm just conditioned to mediocrity by Starfield, but this seems okay.
As a break from all the face-to-face skullduggery down on each planet's surface.
Nice!
Although I didn't invest too much in the ship modifications, since the modest challenge presented by my orbital opponents didn't ever seem to increase to any noticeable degree.
Of course not.
Java, right?
One of Outlaws' most interesting and novel features is its syndicate system, which reminded me of the reputation system used in The Outer Worlds. Basically, you can't really complete a quest over the course of the campaign without pissing off one of the 4 main crime families in order to please another.
You want to, make a move?
Cozying up with one cartel might get you cheaper prices at a merchant you're on side with.
How about you let me take this off your hands and I'll throw in a good word for you.
But it'll also rob you of the ability to move about freely within the headquarters of another gang you've slighted.
Hey, you got anything interesting in the back?
Do I know you?
It's worth pointing out that this isn't Mass Effect. None of the numerous decisions I made seem to make a significant difference to the overall outcome of the story, but
Who would have guessed? It's like in Honkai Star Rail, you have two options. It's like option number 1 is yes, and option number 2 is March 7th, your brain is small. And then you go with option number 2, and she says, hey, no, it's not. And then the story just continues on as if nothing ever happened.
they did effectively make me feel like a truly dirty, rotten scoundrel, as I continually reevaluated my allegiances in each deal I made, so that it would best suit whatever my motives were at the time.
Okay, Manda. You got a deal.
For example, before I started exploring the surface of Tatooine, I made sure that I'd worm my way into the good graces of the Hutt Syndicate, since Jabba's goons control large swathes of its map, and I wanted to ensure that I could explore it thoroughly without drawing too much unwanted heat. Being able to explore unimpeded is paramount because Outlaws does such a great job teasing you with secrets to find, or opportunities to pursue, in an extremely organic way as you move through its 4 main worlds.
I found 2 perfectly good converters in the alley behind the club.
Almost every Cantina conversation I eavesdropped on or discarded datapad I read pointed me towards some new treasure to seek out or gambling tip to take advantage of, and it always felt like I was gleaning some illicit information rather than just being spoon-fed chores to complete, as is the
that seems like probably the best thing that I've heard out of this whole video. Yeah, that's probably the best thing I've seen so far. Seems cool? Yeah.
case in so many other open world adventures.
He hangs around the back alley next to the market.
Where Outlaws' quest design really excels, though, is in taking seemingly innocuous side objectives and spinning them out into exciting, multi-staged adventures that regularly took me by surprise.
Okay.
Like when a simple trip to collect a certain object in Mos Eisley took a series of sharp twists and turns, and suddenly I was sliding deep into the bowels of a Sarlacc pit.
We're going
No, this is part of a
And
demo.
then thrust straight into an exciting escape from a huge sandworm. It's the lively
Like, I just wonder, like, what the gameplay of that is, though. Because, like, that's kind of, like, what my concern is, like, if I go back and I look at this, and then I go back...
Act like a professional outfit and you might live.
Who does that creep think he is?
Primary shield disabled.
Shield loss confirmed. Initializing ORC firing sequence. Connecting EML modules. Opening energy turbines. Output at 80%. Sighting correction A-OK. 90, 95. I won't miss.
Secondary shield down.
Got
and then thrust straight into an exciting escape from a huge sandworm. It's the
That's what I thought. One frame. People say you could I could see a lot of frames. I notice this shit, man. I do. It's just like
5. I won't miss.
how is it that
Secondary shield down.
how is it that you can watch this as a game developer and then put this out and have any degree of self-respect? I would feel so bad for I get that. And hey, here's the thing. Like, if this was a small studio, I would be like, hey, this is pretty good, right? They're doing their best. But this is Ubisoft. This is supposed to be a AAA studio. Like, there's no excuse for this. It's like this doesn't even stack up against its own games. Like, I showed you guys this the other day. Let me see if I can show this. No, it's not here. Like, even inside of Assassin's Creed Shadows, the visuals for these characters in the game, this is fucking amazing. Like, I'm sorry, but I really think this looks good. Like, I understand people might not like the fact the character's there. They might not enjoy the character. Might think, oh, it shouldn't be this. But man, the dude looks fucking good. It's pre-rendered. I bet in game it's going to look better than this does. I'll tell you that. Even the pre-rendered stuff for this game looked like trash.
It's the lively left-turn stretches like these where Outlaws really shines. By stringing together countless Star Wars references and Uncharted-style moments of spectacular action and adventure, and there are plenty of quests like this that I've undertaken, and likely many more that I haven't even found yet. However, in order to enjoy moments such as these, you've got to take the rough with the smooth, especially since, as of launch, the PlayStation 5 version of Star Wars Outlaws that I played is plagued by more irritating bugs than a Dagobah camping ground. Over the course of the journey, I saw countless graphical glitches, speeder bikes crashing to a halt trying to go over jumps, or small hills, or just...
this might sound unpopular. I really don't care about issues like this. Like, this is like... I think it was like the guy that, that made Ferrari was like, yeah, I don't care if the door's shut or not. Oh, they don't shut properly? Yeah. I want whenever the car turns on and it goes fast, I want the guy to shit his pants. There's issues like this in Elden Ring, too. There's little issues. Dragon's Dogma 2, there's issues with this. Like, Wukong has, like, little issues. Good games, it doesn't matter in.
Randomly teleporting entirely.
Breaks the flow. Hey, guys, to be fair, it does really seem like there's a lot of these, right? Like, I'm talking about, like, 1 or 2 quirks or bugs. It could be, like, PUBG, right? Like, I'm not saying there's a line. I'm saying that a couple of these doesn't really ruin my life. It can be funny sometimes, yeah. Like, there's a level of bugs that are okay and acceptable.
Crucial mission prompts not appearing and forcing checkpoint restarts, and countless occasions where the dialogue audio just dropped out completely.
Hey there.
What?
That's just a few of many examples. So if issues like those sound like they'd force pull you out of the Star Wars universe, it might be best to let Ubisoft blast them off Outlaws' hull like a bunch of cable-chewing Minox before you pick Outlaws up.
Blasters aren't gonna do anything to this thing!
It's ironic the K's ship is called the Trailblazer, since there's actually not a whole lot of ideas in Star Wars Outlaws that haven't been done in other action and open-world adventures. Instead, it's quite like the Millennium Falcon. A bucket of bolts held together with repurposed parts and prone to breaking down. But at its best, it's more than capable of jolting your pleasure centers into Star Wars fan hyperspace. A clever syndicate system...
I feel like the sandworm despawning mid-animation is the cheapest, saddest, most pathetic thing I've ever seen. That's so fucking pathetic. Wow.
Real weight to almost every task you choose to undertake, some of which have truly creative quest designs that can often conjure up some genuinely stunning blindsides. Having a pal like Nyx at your side the entire time not only adds an extra dimension to Kay's fairly generic smuggler character, but also gives her an enhanced set of abilities. But even he can't quite make Outlaws' stealth and combat feel any less rigid or repetitive, and the odds of avoiding the many glaring technical issues present at launch is approximately 3,720 to 1.
How is it that you can say that a game is boring, unoriginal, has bad combat, is formulaic, It doesn't work right. The audio is bad. The stories are mediocre. There's bugs everywhere, but it's a 7. What the hell is a 5? I feel like this guy would rate E.T. on Atari a 5, and like Superman 64 would be a 6. Gollum's the 5. Yeah, I how do you do this? Like, I don't understand this at all. 7 is the new middle. Maybe on Instagram, but this isn't Instagram. You have to pay for these.
Tell me the odds.
Okay, fair enough. For more IGN reviews, check out our verdict on Black Myth Wukong and Fallout London, and for everything else, stick with IGN.
Let's get out of here, ND5.
Acknowledged, Kay.
I just don't understand like how you can rate this like, because I mean I'm just looking at like the way that like he's grading it, right? I'm listening to like what he's saying. It's like I feel like this is a 5. Like this game's like a 5, or I feel like it's gonna be a 5. That's what I would probably say. It's a 5. You think it's a 4? I don't think it's I don't think it's a 4. It's probably 5. But like I mean the sandworm. Can we go back to the sandworm? Like this is the saddest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Where is it? Oh my god, where did it go? Oh, it should be right here.
Sandworm.
It just despawns. It's not even a real... It's not even there. Look. Get ready. Get ready. Oh! I just... Is it because the guy's potato PC skipping frames? I mean, I don't know. It seems like he recorded it on a pretty bad PC because a lot of the graphics look way worse than they did in the demos. But like, man, I don't know. I you know, maybe we'll ship the guy a Starforge. I don't know. But it sure looks problematic. Does he say what he captured it on? Oh, it's on PlayStation 5. I think a PlayStation 5 should be able to do better than that. I mean, dude, look at, like... This is the first game that came out on PlayStation. Oh, this is the first game playing out on PlayStation 3. Look at this.
Upgrades that make me never want to even think.
This came out years ago.
Demon's Souls on the PS3.
2020.
There's so many to touch upon, but the long list includes a tool belt, the ability to use archstones like a bonfire and reset the enemies, being able to intuitive implicit next time I saw this, and picks not without a game like this.
Look at this.
Twice as the Demon's Souls is breathtaking to look at. There is a staggering level of attention to detail here. From enemy and NPC facial expressions, to blood spatter on your gear, to everything reacting to your physical presence.
Look at this combat.
On and on. It is all around just a magnificent showcase of the power of the PlayStation 5 and an enticing taste at what's to come if things can look this good on a launch game.
Did you hear that? He said that it's gonna get better. Oh no.
It's the lively left turn stretches like these where Outlaws really...
Oh no. Whoa, man. He really thought. Open world games rarely ever look this good, especially the Ubisoft ones. I mean, I don't know about that. I feel like there's not looking this good, and there's also not even being able to finish the animation of a sandworm going into the ground. Like, come on, man. Like, what the hell are we talking about? This is terrible. Like, if I look at... Look at... This from 10 years ago?
Incoming fire! Raise fire! Trim 2! Build up!
I don't know if this is the right video. I need to find the right video. Ah, fuck. It might be somewhere else. But anyway, it's just like... The water's so good. Yeah, it's so weird to me that this has happened. And this is the same company. Black Flag's the best game compared to all other games. Poor art direction. It's just like...
shines by stringing together countless Star Wars references
Man.
and Uncharted-style moments of spectacular action and adventure, and there are plenty of quests like
Time
this that
crunch?
I've undertaken, and likely...
You don't know anything about downgrades, dude. Google Watch Dogs downgrade and you'll learn something new? Yeah, you typed that before. What's wrong with mid if you're a normie who only owns 15 games or is a Star Wars fan? Well, I don't know. I mean, like, here's the... What's wrong with mid? I mean... I can think of 130 reasons of what's wrong with it. Number one. Number 70 reasons. It's a lot of money. You're asking a AAA price on a game. And this is the premium AAA price, right? Not just the... Like, Elden Ring was $60. This is more expensive than Elden Ring. Keep that in mind. So, they gave an 8 to Wukong. Yeah, I guess so. Remember how good of a game Far Cry was this time? Yeah, I don't even know what to say. Like, if you want to play a mid-game because you think that it's like you're going to like the game and you're a fan of Star Wars... then awesome, man. That's great. I'm happy that you found something that you liked. But don't start eating shit and then tell me that it's chocolate and then get mad that I tell you I'm not hungry. Like, it really, like, I mean, I have no problem. Like, I play mediocre games. It's not a big deal. Like, that's not a big, it's not a problem, but, like, the quality on this is just so low, man. Even Star Wars. Yeah, and also, like, I mean, we had a game, like, let me see what they said. What did they review Jedi Survivor at?
Story that may be predictable.
It's a 9? Well, I think it was an 8, to be honest. I think this game was an 8. But this game was so much better. And I don't even think this game was amazing. I just think it was way better. Like, if you're a Star Wars fan, you should expect this, bro. Like, this was way better. Fallen Order was better. I heard Fallen Order was better. I remember I had a friend that played it, but I never played it myself. He's a much bigger fan of Star Wars than I am. But, it's just like... And, like, look at the character models, too. This is better. It came out over a year ago. This game was fun. I think it was a good game. I don't think it was a great game, and it was like, you know, it's just all right. But it's certainly better than whatever they cooked up now. The writing was just flaccid from Survivor? Yeah, I don't know. Vastly superior to Outlaws? Yeah, it's just, I don't even know what to say, man. I really don't.